Look at my hair. Try to film outside, but it's way too windy, so probably shouldn't do that. Also, it's very hot today, even though it's October. Makes me think of this meme, turning on the AC. All right, this is what we're working with today. Okay, hi, I'm Sharon, if you don't know me. I made a divorce video a couple months ago, and now I'm just talking about things that I think about after making that video. Basically what happened was I got married at 25, got divorced at 30, got remarried at 31, and then now I'm here at 34. I feel like some people might say that I can't really speak on this because it ended up quote unquote working out for me because I got remarried and now I have kids and all that. But I don't think getting remarried is the goal, and it wasn't my goal. I wasn't ever planning to get remarried, and it just kind of happened, and obviously I'm so thankful for my husband and for my kids, but that was something that I wasn't really thinking about. And secondly, some people have asked me, even before I made my divorce video, asking if I regret my first marriage at all, and the answer is, and would have been, even if I didn't get remarried, a resounding absolutely not. There are two reasons for that. Before I talk about those reasons, I just wanted to say that I guess I'm mostly talking to girls, although obviously this applies to guys too, but the thought of getting divorced, or the fear of getting divorced, or if you're in the middle of a divorce, or if you're in the middle of about to be getting divorced, it feels like your life is over and you're never going to be happy again. And I don't know, like it's just the absolute worst thing that could ever happen to you. And I can't even imagine how hard that decision must be if you have kids, and what that means for your kids and all that stuff. So I just wanted to say that if that's you and you're kind of going through that, first of all, I'm so sorry. That is so hard and nobody wants to go through that. But secondly, it's going to be okay. I promise it's going to be okay. So the two reasons for me of why I don't regret my first marriage at all, like not even 1%, is because number one, it led me to who I am today. And I talk about that briefly in my divorce video, which by the way, if you want to go watch it, it's this one. And I just would not be who I am today if I didn't go through that horrendous experience. And I'm not saying that my first marriage was a horrendous experience. We had great times. I don't regret the times that we had together. You know, we were best friends at one point. We got married for a reason. Like, I wasn't forced to get married or anything like that, which actually I'll talk about in the next point. But the process of realizing that our marriage was about to end, that was pretty horrendous. And if I didn't go through all of that, then I just would not be who I am today. And I really like who I am today so much more than who I was before. I feel like I grew up kind of being told by multiple people that I was mature for my age, or that I seemed really confident. I don't know, all these other things that I'm not saying to toot my own horn, but literally that's what people would say to me. And now that I'm in Sharon version 2.0, I realize that Sharon version 1.0 really wasn't those things. And this is not to say that the people who told me those things were wrong, or that they shouldn't have said that to me or anything like that. But I think just compared to who I am now, I'm just realizing that pre-divorce Sharon was actually really insecure and put her identity in the wrong things. And until that point, my life was so vanilla. I've been so lucky to have such amazing parents who gave me such a stable, loving life, and I didn't have any trauma growing up. I was very privileged financially. I don't know, like everything was just like, it was fine. Everything was fine all the time. And I think the downside to living such a vanilla life, which I'm not complaining about my life was amazing. But I think until that point, the downside to it is that I do think it limited how deep of a person I could be. And I'm just speaking for myself. I think a lot of other people who live a non-traumatic life can be very deep thinkers. It might be different for them. But for me, I needed to go through something to make me who I am today, and be able to connect with people and empathize with people and actually speak to some of the sufferings of this world because I went through it, and not because I just kind of heard about it or knew about it, or other people told me their experiences and I was just able to say, wow, that's really hard. Now I can actually have something substantial to say, I had this experience, and so I can kind of understand what you're going through if you're going through something really hard, because I also went through something really hard. I'm really thankful for that, because I think as a Christian and as somebody who really wants to be a blessing to others, I can see a little bit more of God's heart when he is hurting with his children and with people that he just loves so much. I don't know, there are just so many things that I've learned through everything. I talked a little bit about the identity piece, even just God turning from my master to my father, like all these lessons that I learned and am able to share with others. Even the fact that I can make these videos and really urge people, especially young women, to look for a solid partner in Christ, and to really encourage people that it's going to be okay if they're going through something really hard, because that's exactly how I was feeling, and it turned out fine for me. Again, not because I got remarried, just because God will always have your back in these moments. What was the beginning of my sentence here? Basically, I'm just really thankful that I had this experience, because I just learned so much, and I just became a better person through all of it. And I genuinely don't think I could have been that person if I didn't go through what I went through. So for that reason, and that is probably the biggest reason, I don't regret anything. And in fact, I'm so thankful. You know, it's one of those things where you be careful what you wish for, you be careful what you pray for. God will answer your prayers. And if you're asking for suffering, or if you're asking for him to teach you something, and he answers yes to that prayer, it could be quite rough for you. While you're going through it, it is the worst thing in the world. But on the other side, it's kind of nice, because it's like now, you know, hindsight's 2020. I can think in retrospect, I forget. It's like labor pains. Like you forget how hard it was and you kind of want to do it again. Not that I want to do this again, but it's one of those things where now that I'm not in it and I have gone through it and I can speak about it, and I've come out of the other side in one piece and just really seeing God's glory through it in so many ways, I'm so thankful for my experience, and so thankful that I can talk to you about this stuff, connect with people. Yeah, just especially again for younger women, I just really have a passion for helping other girls be in healthy marriages. And I think I had a glimpse of that during my marriage while I was going through hard things, but now I'm on the other side, and I care about that so deeply. So yeah, I would never take that back. The second reason I don't regret it is because it was absolutely my choice to get married. I actually had a lot of people being concerned about this person that I was going to marry, and older people telling me that I probably shouldn't get married and all this stuff. And I was quite young, I was only 25. But at the end of the day, I remember telling my parents straight up, if I get divorced, then at least it was my choice. And I think that's the one thing I got right, where I really took ownership over my choices. And I think that's why I don't regret anything. That's why I don't have bitterness towards anybody. This was all my choice. And even with people telling me not to get married, or even with people on the flip side telling me that I needed to commit to this relationship, otherwise I failed, or otherwise I'm a quitter, or whatever it is, I had voices from both sides. Even with all those voices, it was my choice. And I really rest in knowing that because it was my choice, I own my choice, and I remember why I made the decision that I made. I don't know, that gives me a lot of freedom and a lot of comfort. Nobody forced me to do anything. I did have pressures on both sides, but ultimately I made the decision. I'm accountable to myself, you know? There's nobody that I can look at or point to and say, this is all your fault. You made me do this. Because they didn't. Nobody forced me to do anything. Was it the best choice? I don't know. It depends how you look at it. I don't regret my choice at all. Like I just said, I could have probably made different choices, and that's fine, and those would have been fine too. Would it have led to exactly where I am today? No. And would that have been worth it, knowing how my life is today? No, it's not. My life is amazing right now. And again, for the bajillionth time, it's not because I got remarried. It's just because I like who I am now. But yeah, I just think that life is a series of choices that you make that lead you on a certain path. If you can be confident in knowing why you made the choices you made along the way, you can avoid a lot of regret and bitterness towards other people. There are obviously extreme situations where somebody is forcing you to do something, and I'm not talking about those situations. I'm so sorry you're going through that. I hope you can get out of that. But for the typical decisions that we make along the way, especially in our 20s, when we have all these like formative decisions that we make, who to marry, what job we want, where to live, hopefully if it doesn't work out the way that you thought it would, and in fact it led you to a lot of suffering, you can know that past you made that decision for a really good reason. And it may not have been the best reason now that you know what's going to happen, but at the time it felt like the best choice. I think that's something that I live by even now. Like, I don't know if I have any regrets in life, to be honest. Like, I would have to really think about that, because I know that every choice that I made in life was my choice. How many times can I say choice? And yeah, that just gives me a lot of ownership and a lot of freedom in knowing that that's all I can do. Just try to make the best decisions I can make, and then see what happens, and then make the next good decision, and just continue to be thoughtful as best as you can. So yeah, no regrets here. In fact, very thankful, very happy to be here. Life is crazy. You don't know how it's going to work out, but at least you have the power of ownership in the decisions that you make. That's what was on my mind this week. Let me know if you're in a tough situation, not being sure what decision you should make. I hope you know that you have a lot of power in those decisions. Don't let anyone tell you what to do. It's hard to escape that pressure sometimes, but it's your life. You gotta be able to sleep at night with your own decisions. Okay, thanks for listening. Subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time. Bye.